Hello coin collectors, welcome back to Dual Change Review. Today we have a set of coins that has been requested a few times, and that is the free Shakespeare £2 coins. Before we get started, I want to say I actually do really like this one, and we'll come on to the main details of the design and value shortly, but I want to just start with a very brief background into Shakespeare, the man, the myth and the legend. Now, this will be brief because, as usual, the amount of research on him and information that is available is crazy, but for the nation's playwright, that's to be expected. And there are a few people whose work lives on so long after their death, and that still continues to be popular and performed and argued about to this day. But Shakespeare is one of them. Now, born most likely sometime in April 1564 and baptised on the 26th in Stratford-upon-Avon. Now, some people like to state that he was actually born on the 23rd because he also died on the 23rd of April, but the records from the church which would have confirmed this have actually all been lost. But we'll come on to the church and his death shortly. Now, not many records of his early life or his life in general exist from that period, but we know more about him than we do most people from that time. And the first time he properly shows up is when he was getting married at the age of 18 to Anne Hathaway, in a very rushed wedding, most likely because 6 months after they were married, Anne actually gave birth to their first child, Susanna, who was then followed 2 years later by twins, Hamlet, not Hamlet, and Judith. Then again, there are very few traces of him until he pops up in London on the theatre scene in 1592, where he receives some bad reviews in the paper. But it's in 1594 that his plays are recorded as being performed by the Lord Chamberlain's men, who later got patronised and became the King's men. Now, the first published plays we have of Shakespeare were from the first folios, which were published after his death, and they were split into 3 sections, which, as you can guess, were the basis for these coins here. We have the Comedies, which were ones like Much Ado About Nothing, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Histories, such as Richard II, Richard III, Coriolanus, and the tragedies such as Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet and Macbeth. And along with these plays, there are also 154 sonnets and 2 long narrative poems as well. So he was a busy man, but then this was the time before TV and box sets, which might have distracted him. And then, skipping forward a bit, on the 23rd of April 1616, he died at the age of 52. And was laid to rest in the Holy Trinity Church, which in his last piece of public work has an interesting epitaph he wrote. On his grave it says, and I'll use the modern translation, "Good friends, for Jesus' sake forbear, to dig in dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be the man that moves my bones." Which, as epitaphs go, is pretty good if you have a taste for such things. So, let's move on to the actual coins now. We covered off in an earlier video, these were designed by John Bergdahl, and he's gone for the simple iconic representation of the 3 types of plays here. For the comedy, he's gone for the jester's cap and stick, or marionette as it's known, and the edge inscription is "All the world's a stage," which is from As You Like It, Act 2, Scene 7. For the histories, you can see he's gone for the crown and dagger, and the edge inscription is simply "The Hollow Crown," which is from Richard II, Act 3, Scene 2. And lastly, my favourite design of the 3 is the skull and rose for tragedies, and the edge inscription is "What a piece of work is man," from Hamlet, Act 2, Scene 2. And while this one is my favourite, I do like all these designs together. But let's move on to the value now. And it's an interesting one because when they were first out, they were going for about £5 or £10 each online. But almost a day after the mintage figures were officially released, the price just dropped to near face value, as there were a lot of these put into circulation, over 4 million of each of them. And this is the reason why I always give a little delay and a little time before I review one of these, so I can give the chance for the price to settle down on them. But looking online at the last 5 of these sold from circulation, Comedies went for an average of £3.65. Histories went for £3.22, and Tragedies on average went for £3.08. So individually, as a set, they were selling for £9.95. But then they actually looked at the price they were getting when they were sold all three together, and the average price for that came out at £8.81. So if you did sell them individually, there's about a quid's difference. But as we come to the end of today's oil change review, we ask, do you have these in your collection at home? And what are your thoughts on this design? Let us know in the comment section below, and if you liked today's video, why not give us a like and subscribe for future content. But until next time, coin collectors, thanks for watching and keep collecting. Bye!